If you're a guy who's tired of chasing women, sick of constantly being the one who cares more, who texts first, who tries harder, this video is for you. I'm about to flip your entire perspective on dating. You've been lied to for far too long. You've been told to chase women to impress them, to win them over. Well, I'm here to tell you, you've been doing it all wrong. Here's the truth. Women are not attracted to men who chase them. They might entertain you for a while, but they won't respect you, and they sure as hell won't fall for you. Women are biologically wired to be attracted to men who have options, men who aren't desperate for attention, men who don't bend over backward to get their approval. The second you start chasing, you've already lost the game. But what if I told you that you could turn the tables, that instead of you chasing women, they could be chasing you? What if I told you that with a few simple shifts in your mindset and behavior, you could become the man that women pursue? Man they can't stop thinking about. This isn't some manipulation technique or game playing. This is about you becoming a high-value man, a man who is so secure in himself that women naturally gravitate towards him. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what to do to make any woman want to chase you, and it's all rooted in Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's more relevant today than ever before. Let's get started. Secret 1. Master your emotions. The first secret is simple but powerful. Master your emotions. This might sound obvious, but it's where most men fail. We live in a world where emotional reactions are the norm. If she doesn't reply to your text for a few hours, you start getting anxious. You overthink her every move, wondering what you did wrong, and before you know it, you're spiraling out of control emotionally. Here's the brutal truth. Women are repelled by men who can't control their emotions. Why? Because a man who is emotionally reactive is unpredictable, and unpredictability creates a sense of insecurity. Women want to feel safe around a man. They want to know that no matter what happens, he can stay calm and grounded. This doesn't mean you should be cold or indifferent. It means you need to cultivate emotional control. When you're calm, composed, and emotionally stable, you show that you're in control of yourself and your life. Here's something you can do when you feel yourself getting emotional, whether it's anger, frustration, or anxiety. Pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, will this matter a week from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Train yourself to respond, not react. A man who can keep his emotions in check is a man who commands respect, and respect is the foundation of attraction. You've heard the saying, calm is contagious. Women will test your emotional stability whether they realize it or not. If you can remain cool, confident, and unaffected by the little things, she will start to chase you because you're showing her something most men don't have: self-control. Secret 2. Stay true to your values. Stay true to your values no matter what. Here's the reality. The moment you start compromising your values to please a woman, you lose her respect, and without respect there is no attraction. Women are naturally drawn to men who stand for something, men who have a clear code they live by. It's not about being stubborn or refusing to compromise. It's about having a strong sense of who you are and what you believe in. Too many men give up their passions, goals, and ambitions just to keep a woman around. They stop going to the gym to spend more time with her. They put their career on hold, thinking that by sacrificing their dreams they'll make her happy. But here's the truth. A man without purpose is a man without power. Women don't chase men who bend over backward for them. They chase men who are dedicated to their own growth, who are driven to live their best life whether she's in it or not. Here's the brutal truth. When you give up on what makes you you, you become less attractive. Women respect men who have their own thing going on. If you drop your personal goals or your beliefs to keep her happy, she's not going to see you as a leader. She's going to see you as a man who's easy to sway, and women do not respect men who can be easily swayed. Write down your top 5 values, the things that are non-negotiable for you. Whether it's your career, your health, your integrity, or your personal growth, These values should guide your every decision. When a woman sees that you're committed to these values, she will respect you more, and respect fuels attraction. Women are naturally drawn to men who are consistent, who know what they stand for, and who aren't afraid to live by their principles. It's not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about having a foundation that doesn't crumble just because someone else wants you to change. Here's the thing. Women don't want to be your whole world. They want to be a part of your world. When you live by your values, you're showing her that you have something bigger than her to strive, and that's powerful. Women don't fall for men who are easy to control. They fall for men who are in control of their own lives. So stop changing who you are to fit into her expectations. Stand firm in what you believe. When you live true to your values, she will chase you, not because you're trying to impress her, but because you've become the man she respects and desires. Number 3. Stop chasing validation. Let's be honest. Most men are trapped in a loop they don't even see. It starts the moment they start liking a woman. They shift their focus. Suddenly they care way too much about what she thinks. They start posting things online with the hope that she notices. They start texting with an invisible goal to get a reply, an emoji, some kind of approval. That approval becomes the drug, and the need for it. That's what kills your power. Here's the truth women can feel when you're chasing validation. It doesn't matter how confident you try to look on the outside. If your energy is needy, it leaks. She'll sense it in the way you speak, the way you look at her, and even the way you react when she doesn't reply fast enough. And the second she feels like you need something from her to feel good about yourself, the attraction starts dying. Real confidence doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't ask, "Did she like my message?" It says, "This is who I am. Take it or leave it." That's what flips the dynamic. Let me put it this way. When you're obsessed with her response, you stop being present. You're not focused on your life anymore. You're not chasing your purpose. You're waiting. Waiting for her to text back. Waiting for her to validate you. And whether you say it out loud or not, she'll pick up the vibe. This guy needs me to like him before he likes himself. That's the least attractive energy you can put out. But here's the secret. The moment you stop chasing validation, everything changes. You walk differently. You speak from your center. You're not worried if she likes your joke. You're not afraid to disagree. You're not looking for her to fill something inside you. And that kind of energy, that's magnetic. So how do you break the validation habit? First, catch yourself. Notice the moments where you're doing things for a reaction. Posting, texting, checking your phone. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to, or because I want her to notice? Then flip the script. Instead of trying to impress her, focus on expressing yourself. Say what you believe, share what you love, and let go of how she reacts. If she responds, cool. If she doesn't, you're still good. Second, get busy with something bigger than her. Women respect a man with direction, a man who's moving, building, and focused. If your life is full, you won't have time to sit around waiting for her response. And ironically, that's when she starts reaching out more. Remember, she doesn't want a man who needs her. She wants a man who chooses her but doesn't need her to function. That's the Stoic way. That's what keeps your emotional frame solid. One more thing. Stop over-explaining yourself. You don't need to prove anything. If you said what you meant, let it sit. Let the silence speak. Let her wonder what you're thinking, instead of trying to decode every move she makes. And if she pulls away, don't panic. Don't beg. Don't try to win her back. Let her go. If she's meant to stay, she'll come back to the man who didn't chase. Here's the line to remember. Validation is cheap when it's begged for, but when it's given to the man who doesn't need it, that's when it's real. So ask yourself right now, where have you been giving your power away? Who have you been waiting on to tell you you're enough? Then take it back. Now, if this hit something real for you, drop a comment and let me know. Just say, "I felt that." 3 words. No overthinking, just truth. And if you're serious about mastering the mindset that makes her chase you instead of the other way around, keep watching. The next part goes even deeper. Secret 4. Trust in your abilities. Let's cut straight to it. Women are not drawn to men who second-guess themselves. They don't fantasize about the guy who constantly hesitates, seeks permission, or waits for reassurance. They're drawn to the man who knows what he's capable of even when nobody else claps for him yet. That's not arrogance. That's trust. Self-trust. And in the world of attraction, it's a game changer. Because confidence is not about being loud, it's about being certain. You know what you're about. You know what you bring. And you don't need to convince anyone. You just show up and the world starts to adjust around you. Now here's where most men get it wrong. They think women are looking for perfection. They're not. They're looking for presence, for groundedness, for a man who makes decisions without looking over his shoulder wondering if someone's going to approve. So when you doubt yourself, when you hesitate or shrink back, she notices. It sends the signal he's unsure. He doesn't trust his own judgment, and if you don't trust you, why should she? Let's take it deeper. When you trust in your abilities, you stop asking the world for permission. You stop over-apologizing. You stop second-guessing every message. You stop shrinking in social spaces because you don't want to come off too strong. You own your words, your body, your energy. That kind of man, he makes women lean in without even trying. And the Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius didn't write journals to feel good. He wrote to remind himself. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. In other words, when doubt shows up, lean into it. You grow by pushing through, not by avoiding. Here's a practical trick. When that voice of hesitation creeps in, pause, then act, not impulsively, intentionally. Your instincts are sharper than you think. You don't need to run every move through 5 layers of self-doubt. That ability to trust your gut to back your own voice, that's what builds silent authority. And nothing is more magnetic to a woman than silent authority. Not forced, not flashy, just real. Now think back to any moment where you second-guessed yourself in front of her. Maybe you were about to speak your mind, but held back. Maybe you had an idea for the night, but let her decide everything. Maybe you were on the edge of taking the lead, but defaulted to being agreeable. What did it cost you? Because here's what she's thinking. If he doesn't lead, I have to. And if I have to lead, I don't feel safe relaxing into him. See, when you trust yourself, you're not trying to impress her. You're inviting her into your world. You're saying, I've got this. And that security, that masculine foundation, it does something to her. She relaxes. She respects you more. And yes, she starts to chase. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about being reckless or cocky. This is about staying grounded in what you know to be true. And even when you're still learning, you trust yourself enough to lead through the unknown. That's the edge. So, the next time you feel the urge to play small, ask yourself, what would I do if I trusted myself fully in this moment? Then, do that. Speak that. Move like that. You'll be shocked how quickly the energy around you shifts. And if you've been sitting on potential, on ideas, talents, instincts, waiting for someone to say you're ready, let this be that moment. You're ready when you decide you are. And if this resonates with you, here's what I want you to do. Click that subscribe button right now. But don't just stop there. Join the Stoic Brotherhood. We go deeper in the members-only space. Real strategies. Real conversations. Real transformation. You don't have to walk this path alone. If you've ever felt this shift inside you where you start to realize your own power, drop a comment and say, it's already in me. Say it like you mean it. We're not done yet. The next secret is where things start getting personal. You'll want to stick around. Secret 5. Your choices carry weight. Let's get one thing straight. Women notice what you choose, not just what you say, not what you promise, but what you do consistently. And more importantly, what you choose not to do. Your choices send a signal. They say who you are without you ever having to explain yourself. That's why this secret hits different. Because most men don't realize their everyday decisions are either building attraction or slowly draining it away. Here's the truth. When a woman is around a man who chooses with clarity, it does something to her. It creates gravity. He becomes someone she wants to orbit. Not because he forces her to, but because his sense of direction pulls her in. Think about it. A man who knows what he wants to eat, where he wants to go, what values he lives by, how he handles pressure. That man stands out. Most guys are trying so hard to be agreeable they become forgettable. Let's make this real. You say you value your time, but you let her cancel on you last minute again and still reply with, "It's okay." You say you're disciplined, but you drop everything the moment she texts. You say you've got standards, but you're still entertaining energy that drains you. That contradiction, she sees it. And even if she doesn't call it out, she feels it. It shifts how she sees you. Not necessarily in anger, but in interest. It fades, quietly, slowly, until one day you realize she doesn't respond with the same fire anymore. Why? Because your words said high value, but your choices didn't back it up. You need to understand something fundamental about female psychology. What turns her on isn't just your body, your face, or even your success. It's the tension between who you say you are and how consistently you live it. Your choices become the proof of your masculinity. So start treating your decisions like they matter. Not just the big ones, but the micro moves. Do you say yes just to avoid friction? Do you ghost your purpose because a woman is finally paying attention to you? Do you drop your training, your sleep, your focus just to be available? If the answer's yes, then deep down, you're not choosing her. You're abandoning you. And trust me, she doesn't want that kind of man. Not long term. What captivates her is a man who doesn't flinch when tested, who doesn't sell out his path just to stay in someone's good graces, who, when forced to choose, always chooses self-respect over temporary connection. That man is rare. Here's what it might look like in action. She throws a test your way. Maybe she flirts with some other guy to get a reaction. Maybe she plays hot and cold to see if you'll chase. You don't react. You don't play her game. You observe, make a choice, and hold your ground. You say, "That's not the energy I invest in." Calm, clear, clean. Suddenly you've flipped the script. You've shown her your time has standards. Your attention isn't free. And now you're not chasing her validation. She's chasing your approval. This is the weight of masculine choice. Not loud, not aggressive, but unshakable. And here's the Stoic layer. Epictetus said, "You are not disturbed by things, but by your view of things." Meaning, you don't control what she does, but you absolutely control how you respond. That response is your power. That's where your choices gain gravity. You don't need to tell her you're different. Show her, through your actions, through your standards, through your calm. Because the moment she sees that your decisions come from a place of deep self-trust, everything changes. You become less predictable, more magnetic, and infinitely harder to forget. So here's the question. Are you choosing like a man she can respect, or are you reacting like someone trying to stay liked? Big difference. Take a second, reflect, then decide who you want to be. And if you're ready to step into that version of yourself, drop a comment and say, "I move with intention." That's the kind of energy that attracts without effort. Now keep watching, because Secret 6 reveals the most overlooked signal of high-value masculinity. You'll want to hear this. Secret 6. Ask for favors. This might sound backwards at first, but trust me, it works. If you want a woman to invest in you, ask her to do something for you. Yeah, you heard that right. I didn't say buy her flowers. I didn't say plan a perfect date. I didn't say prove yourself. I said ask her for something. A favor. a small request, a tiny investment of effort. Because when someone does something for you, something shifts inside them. They begin to feel more attached to you. Not because of what you've done, but because of what they've done. This is called the Ben Franklin effect, a psychological phenomenon that's been proven time and time again. People grow to like someone more after doing them a favor, not before. It doesn't have to be complicated. You're texting back and forth. You say, "Hey, I'm trying to decide between these two jackets, which one do you think looks better?" Or maybe you're out for coffee. You say, "Do me a favor, grab a couple napkins." Simple, casual, low stakes. But here's what happens subconsciously. She starts to feel a sense of contribution. And where there's contribution, there's investment. Where there's investment, there's attachment. And where there's attachment, there's attraction. It's not manipulation, it's human nature. Think about it. We value what we work for, not what's just handed to us. It's true with money, it's true with career, and it's absolutely true with connection. But most guys have it flipped. They think they need to impress her, do more, give more, chase harder, be the nice guy who never asks for anything. But guess what? That doesn't make her like you more. That just makes you easy to take for granted. So flip the energy, shift the frame. Be the man who receives, not just the man who gives. When you ask for a favor, even a small one, you're signaling something deeper. You're telling her, "I trust your input." You're creating a subtle emotional exchange. You're opening the door for mutual effort, not one-sided worship. And that's where healthy attraction begins. Because here's the truth, women are most drawn to men they can contribute to, not just admire, not just desire, but actually support, emotionally, energetically, even in the small stuff. But let's be clear, this isn't about being demanding. You're not ordering her around. You're not testing her. You're inviting her into your space, into your momentum, into your world. You're saying, "Hey, I'm building something. Want to help?" And that invitation, it hits deep, especially when it's delivered calmly, casually, and with zero pressure. It shows leadership without control, confidence without arrogance, masculinity without ego. So here's your challenge. The next time you're with her, ask for something small, something light, something simple, but do it on purpose. Watch her reaction. Then notice how the dynamic subtly shifts. She'll lean in more. She'll feel seen, useful, connected. And that's exactly what creates emotional gravity. Because again, it's not about the favor. It's about what the favor represents. A chance to give, a moment to serve, a reason to care. Most guys never create that moment. They're too busy trying to be the provider, the performer, the guy who has it all together. But a woman doesn't want a man who needs nothing. She wants a man who's open enough to invite her in. That's where intimacy begins. So let this one sink in. Attraction isn't built on perfection. It's built on participation. And when you ask for a favor, you're letting her participate in you. That's what she remembers. That's what keeps her coming back. Now, are you the kind of man who invites connection, or the kind of man who chases it? If you've felt this dynamic before, or you've made the mistake of doing too much, drop a comment below and say, "I've done that." You're not alone. We're all learning this together. And hey, if this is hitting home, don't just scroll away. Subscribe to the channel right now for more psychology-backed Stoic strategies that give you the edge most men never discover. And if you're ready to take things deeper, join the membership. That's where we drop exclusive content, behind-the-scenes breakdowns, and give you direct access to tools you won't find anywhere else. Trust me, you don't want to keep doing this blind. Now keep watching. Secret 7 is one that'll catch you off guard, but once you learn it, she'll never look at you the same way again. Secret 7: Deep conversations. Forget small talk. Let's be real. Small talk is fine. For strangers, for cashiers, for co-workers in the elevator. But if you want her to remember you, to feel you, you've got to go deeper. Because women don't fall for surface level, they fall for the man who sees past the performance, past the autopilot, past the "how was your day" nonsense. So here's the truth: if you're stuck in polite, shallow conversation, she's not emotionally investing. She's just passing time. But when you break that pattern and dive into something real, you stand out instantly. You become the exception, the man who didn't try to impress her, but tried to understand her. And that's powerful. Now let's be clear, deep doesn't mean intense or heavy all the time. It doesn't mean trauma dumping or interrogating her like it's therapy. Deep means genuine. It means curiosity, presence, listening without trying to steer the moment into a pickup routine. You ask the kind of questions most guys are afraid to touch. Things like, what's something you've always wanted to do but never told anyone? What's your go-to escape when life gets too loud? Or even, what's something you used to believe but don't anymore? Notice the shift. These aren't performance questions. They're connection questions. They signal that you're not here to just scratch the surface. You're here to explore her world and share yours too. And when that happens, when a woman feels safe enough to open up even just a little, the chase begins. Because emotional intimacy, real intimacy, is rare, and rare is irresistible. Most guys, they stay safe. They play it cool. They talk about the weather, their car, their job, or their favorite television shows, and then wonder why the spark fades. But the spark doesn't die because the vibe was wrong. It dies because there was no depth. Depth is where the desire lives. That's what she'll replay later. That moment when you asked something no one else had. That moment where she didn't feel judged, just seen. And here's the kicker. You don't have to say much. You just have to ask well, and then actually listen. That's it. Let her words fill the space. Let her thoughts wander. Don't rush in to respond or impress. Hold the silence, nod, and make her feel like her answers matter. Because when a woman speaks freely in your presence, she bonds to the experience of being heard. And that bond is stronger than looks, money, or charm. Now you might be thinking, but isn't that friend zone territory? Not even close. Friend zone happens when you're passive, when you show interest but never show intention, when you listen but never lead. But deep conversation isn't passivity. It's control, emotional control, social dominance. The ability to hold space without filling it with noise. She feels that. And what starts as comfort quickly turns into chemistry. So skip the rehearsed lines, ditch the status updates, don't flex your resume. Instead, be bold enough to go real, even if it's awkward, even if it's vulnerable. Ask the thing you're curious about, but most people are too afraid to say out loud. Let the conversation be an experience, not just a checklist. Because when she walks away from a night with you, what she'll remember most won't be your outfit, your job, or how loud the bar was. She'll remember what she said to you, and how she said things she didn't expect to. That's intimacy. That's connection. That's the seed of obsession. So here's your moment. Next time you're talking to her, drop the small talk. Go deep. Create that space no other man has offered her. If you've ever had one of those moments, a real one, drop a comment and say, that hit deep, because you're not the only one who's tired of shallow. We all are. And if this style of content feels like the real thing, subscribe to the channel now. This is where we unpack the psychology that most men overlook, and where we teach you how to lead with strength and depth. Want to go deeper? Join the Stoic Brotherhood. That's where you'll find the tools, breakdowns, and exclusive content that's changing how men everywhere approach attraction. We've still got more to cover. Secret 8 will flip the dynamic in a way most guys never even see coming. Stay tuned. Secret 8. Effective communication is key. Here's a truth most men miss: the strongest guys don't talk the most, they talk the clearest. Effective communication isn't about being loud, dominant, or overly charming. It's about clarity, precision, calm intention. It's not what you say that builds attraction, it's how confidently and clearly you say it. See, most guys think they need to say the right thing to win her over. They rehearse lines, run mental scripts, and overthink every text. But women aren't pulled in by perfect phrasing. They're drawn to certainty. Certainty in your tone, certainty in your words, certainty in your presence. That's what creates trust. That's what creates spark. Let's break this down. When you're vague, wishy-washy, or passive, what she feels is this: he's unsure of himself. So how can I trust where he's leading me? But when you speak with intention, when your words match your energy, she leans in. And that doesn't mean being aggressive or arrogant. In fact, calm confidence usually sounds quieter than you think. It sounds like, "I enjoyed tonight. Let's do this again," or "This is what I'm about. That work for you," or even "I hear you. Let's figure it out together." Notice something. There's no over-explaining, no begging for agreement, just grounded presence and direction. That's the masculine frame, and she feels it. Now here's the twist. Effective communication also means listening deeply, because if you're doing all the talking, you're missing half the message. Women express themselves in layers. What she says isn't always what she means, and what she needs is someone who can actually catch the subtext. That's your edge. Listen not just for answers, but for emotion. Pay attention to tone, body language, pacing. Does her energy shift when you ask about her family? Does she brighten up when talking about her side hustle? Does she go quiet when the topic gets too personal? All of that matters. Being a man of few but intentional words means you're not trying to impress her, you're trying to connect. Because connection is communication. And communication, when it's real, builds emotional safety. And guess what emotional safety does? It opens the door to intimacy, to attraction, to that deeper kind of bond most guys never get close to. Here's another key: don't over-explain your boundaries. State them once, calmly, without apology. If something matters to you, speak it plainly. Not to get a reaction, but to show where you stand. Example: I'm not into drama. If there's something going on, I'd rather talk about it and move forward. Simple, firm, non-reactive. She may test it. That's fine. Just stick to your word and watch how that steadiness becomes a magnet. Because deep down, women don't want to manage your emotions. They want to feel anchored by your presence. And nothing anchors like a man who communicates with clarity and restraint. Now let's flip the script. What do you do when she miscommunicates, sends mixed signals, shuts down? You don't chase clarity from her. You model it. Instead of "What's wrong? Why aren't you answering?" try, "I'm sensing a shift. If you want to talk, I'm here. If not, that's okay too." That's strength. That's grace under pressure. And that's rare. She'll feel the difference, and she'll remember it. So here's the mindset shift. Don't speak to impress. Speak to express. Don't react, respond. Don't overtalk, say less, mean more. That's what effective communication is. And once you master it, everything else, attraction, respect, intimacy, follows naturally. Now let's keep it real. If you've ever said too much or too little, or felt stuck not knowing what to say, drop a quick comment that says, "I've felt that." Secret 9 is coming, and it's one most men misunderstand completely. But if you get this one right, the game changes. See you there. Secret 9. Maintain a sense of mystery. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you read a book and immediately flipped to the final chapter? Probably never. Why? Because you wanted the thrill of the unknown. You wanted to be pulled in page by page, not handed the whole story all at once. It's the same thing with attraction. Mystery isn't just some cliché idea tossed around in dating circles. It's one of the most powerful forces in human psychology, especially when it comes to women and the men they're drawn to. Here's the hard truth: most guys talk way too much. They feel this overwhelming need to lay everything out: past relationships, traumas, insecurities, ambitions, favorite childhood memories. And while opening up in time is a good thing, doing it too fast, that kills curiosity. It floods the interaction with too much certainty too soon. You want to keep her chasing. Stop trying to be understood and start learning to be discovered. Mystery is not about playing games or being manipulative. It's about restraint, controlled expression. You give just enough to spark interest, but not so much that there's nothing left to explore. Let me give you an example. Say she asks you what your dream is. Most guys will go into a full TED talk about their 5-year plan, their business goals, their childhood, their why. You pause, look her in the eye, smile just a little and say, "That's a long story. I'll tell you one day when the time's right." And then, silence. That moment. That's tension. That's intrigue. That's the kind of moment she'll replay in her head at night. Because the truth is, women don't want the whole picture up front. They want to feel like they're unlocking something special layer by layer. They want to feel like you're the kind of man who has depth, but they have to earn their way into those deeper levels. That's how emotional investment starts. Not with oversharing, but with controlled disclosure. Mystery also lives in your behavior. The way you move, the way you respond, or choose not to respond. For example, when she texts you something emotional, and instead of jumping in with a long-winded reply, you just say, "I hear you." That pause, that calm, makes her lean in. She starts wondering what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're going to do next. And that wondering, that's where attraction lives. Stoicism plays a massive role here. When you're stoic, you don't react to every little thing. You don't overshare to gain sympathy or approval. You stay grounded, composed, unbothered. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you unreadable in the most irresistible way. Now, this doesn't mean you hide everything or become some emotionless wall. Mystery doesn't mean being unavailable, it means being selective. You're not hiding, you're revealing yourself at a pace that commands attention and respect. That pacing is everything. Here's a technique, the rule of 3. In a conversation, only reveal up to 3 personal things before pivoting the focus back to her or changing the subject. That way you stay just out of full reach. She'll feel like she's learning about you, but never quite enough. And that never quite enough keeps her coming back. Another mistake men make: oversharing through social media. Posting every thought, every selfie, every meal. Bro, mystery dies the moment your life becomes an open Instagram reel. Keep some things for real life. Keep some opinions private. Let her wonder what you're up to, instead of making it obvious. And lastly, your silence when used right is magnetic. You don't always have to respond instantly. You don't need to fill every silence with words. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is say nothing. Let her feel your absence. Let her wonder what you're thinking. Let her fill in the blanks. When she does, those blanks almost always reflect desire. Remember, men who are mysterious aren't trying to impress, they're too focused on living. And because they're so deeply rooted in their purpose, they naturally create that aura of, "I want to know more." So here's your challenge. Resist the urge to explain everything. Let your actions, your presence, your restraint do the talking. And hey, if you're finding value in this kind of content where we keep it real and break it all down with zero fluff, this is your space. Drop a comment below, tell me how you're building your own sense of mystery. I read everyone. Next up, Secret 10 is where everything comes together. You're not going to want to miss it. Secret 10. Patience is power. Let's get something straight. Most guys are in a rush. They want results now. The attention, the affection, the relationship. Fast. But here's what they don't realize. Speed kills attraction. If you want a woman to chase you, to truly be drawn into your presence, your vibe, your world, then you need to master one thing. Most men never learn patience. Not fake patience where you're just waiting but secretly boiling inside. Real patience. The kind that comes from knowing you're good with or without her. That calm certainty that says, I move at my pace, not yours. See, patience is one of the most underestimated tools in attraction. Why? Because it signals something powerful. It tells her you're not desperate, you're not emotionally impulsive, you're not trying to force a connection. You're letting it build organically, naturally, without pressure. And you know what that does? It creates tension, that slow burn, the mystery, the what is he thinking effect. The why isn't he jumping at every opportunity to text me, call me, chase me? Because you're not trying to catch her, you're letting her feel the space, letting her notice your absence, letting her reach out, lean in, wonder more. Let's take it deeper. Patience is rooted in emotional control, and emotional control is Stoic masculinity. When you're patient, you're telling the world, I am the center of my life. I don't need instant gratification. I play the long game. Now apply this to attraction. You meet a woman, there's chemistry. But instead of blowing her up with messages, you space it out. You don't rush into making plans every day. You don't reveal everything at once. You let her feel the journey. You let her imagine what's next. This doesn't mean ghosting or playing hard to get number. It means showing that you're measured, intentional, unshakable. You know what you bring to the table, and you're not handing it out for free. And here's what makes patience so magnetic. It builds anticipation. The longer she waits to understand you, the more invested she becomes. Think about it. People value what takes time. If you give everything too soon, there's no build-up, no tension, no chase. But if you give just enough, slowly in pieces, she'll lean in, again and again. Think of your presence like a rare fragrance. You don't spray it all at once. You leave a trace, a note. Something that lingers just long enough to make her want more. And this even applies in moments of conflict. She says something that tries to test you. You don't snap. You pause. You breathe. You look at her not with anger, not with ego, but with calm power. That pause, that stillness, that's not weakness. That's strength. That's stoic. Patience in action. Remember, women feel more than they think in these moments. And when they feel your composure, your refusal to be pulled into emotional chaos, it stirs something deep. Respect, curiosity, attraction. But here's the real twist. Patience also creates standards. You're not waiting around for her to choose you. You're choosing whether she fits your life. That's the difference. You're patient not because you're passive, but because you're powerful enough to wait for alignment, not just availability. It shows you're grounded in your mission. Your purpose isn't detoured by temporary validation. You're not chasing dopamine hits from texts or looks. You're building a foundation that lasts. And that kind of masculine restraint, it pulls her in without you even trying. Let's be honest, anyone can be charming in the short term, but real impact, that requires patience. It's the man who doesn't rush, who doesn't reveal everything, who doesn't beg for attention that man stands out. So here's your move. Slow down. Watch how the room responds. Say less. Move with calm. Speak when it matters. Let her energy come to you, and when it does, meet it with purpose, not eagerness. Women aren't attracted to rush. They're attracted to rhythm. And a man with patience sets the rhythm. He leads it. He becomes unforgettable. That's you now. And if you've made it through all 10 secrets, you're not just consuming content, you're transforming. This isn't surface-level game. This is stoic depth, emotional precision, masculine clarity. If that's your path, hit subscribe now. Be part of the men who are stepping out of desperation and into dominance. Join the Stoic member community. If you're ready to go even deeper, it's where we get real level up and lead. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.